Hello guys, my name is Tejas Sudhakar K and we are back with another video. So in today's video, we are going to learn and remember buyback of securities, which is your section 68 of your Companies Act 2013. Again, thinking from your examination point of view, this is one of the most important topic for your examinations. So let's have a quick revision, okay? And this will be a power packed revision where within this video you will be able to understand the concept of buyback, why do we need it, how do we do it, and also memorize at the same time. So make sure to watch till the end. You will be having something to take away from today's video and this will be super helpful for your exams. Okay, so let's get started. So now, what is buyback? What is buyback? In simple words, if I have to tell, buyback is purchasing your own securities. The securities that you issue to your shareholders, you are just purchasing it back. Okay, whatever it, and many students believe that buyback is only for the equity shares of the company. No, buyback can be for all the securities of the company, irrespective whether it is debentures, shares, equity shares, preference shares, does not matter. If it is covered in the securities definition, then it can be bought back under section 68 of Companies Act 2013. Okay, but then, sir, why do we issue it in the first place and also buy it back at the same time? Well, fair enough. Well, that's a valid question. There are multiple reasons why a company might consider going for a buyback. There are multiple reasons, and some of the reasons, let's look at some of the reasons. Okay, one of the most important reasons for going for buyback is to increase your earnings per share. Now, what do you mean by earnings per share? This is your financial management concept. Okay, earnings per share in most simple terms is how much is a shareholder earning on the amount that he has invested. Okay, for example, let's say the company has made 1000 rupees in a year, just taking a small amount for easy understanding purposes, and the company has 100 shares. So now each and every share generates 10 rupees of earning. This is your earning per share. Okay, now how do you improve your earning per share? Let's say out of these 100 shares, let's say I buy back 50 shares. So how many shares are we left with? Our earning remains the same, but our number of shares will reduce. It will reduce to 50. It will reduce to 50 shares, which is nothing but your, how much? 20 rupees. Now your earning per share has increased from 10 rupees to 20 rupees, just because you have bought back your shares of the company or bought back your securities of the company. This is one of the main advantages of buyback. And what are the other reasons companies go for buyback, sir? Well, the other reasons that the company goes for buyback can be providing an additional exit route to the shareholders. Let's say the company is not doing so well in the stock market and shareholders want to exit, but they are not getting a good price to exit. So at that point of time, company is saying, okay boss, you want to leave my company, you want to sell the shares of my company, don't worry, I will purchase your shares back at a price which is better than market price. So this is giving additional exit route to all the shareholders in the market. Now, another reason why you would consider a buyback, another reason where you would be considering your buyback is when you are trying to prevent hostile takeovers. What do you mean by hostile takeovers? Think about it. You and me can sit on the stock exchange and purchase shares of the company. We can purchase 10 shares of the company, we can purchase 20 shares of the company, or 100 shares, or 1000 shares, or how many ever shares we want. No one is stopping us from purchasing the number of shares that we want, provided we of course have the money. Okay, If we have the money, we can end up purchasing those shares from the shareholders from the stock market. Now let's say I am a very big investor and I like one company. So what do? I come sit on the stock market, basically open with a stockbroker, an account with a stockbroker, and I end up purchasing, let's say, 20% of the company, 30% of the company. Basically, let's provided I have so much of money. Now, what will happen? Suddenly, overnight, the company's management is changing. The company's shareholding pattern is changing. Your company structure itself changes because of one single person. This is hostile takeover. Hostile is something which no one expected. Did, let's say you were the shareholder and you never expected that a person like this will just come and purchase all the shares of the company. It is not possible to expect these things, right? And even the company wouldn't have expected these things. But let's say the shareholding with public is less and the promoter holding is more. So you have a combination, right? One is your public shareholding and another set is your promoter shareholding. Now, what if your promoter shareholding is more? I'm not saying more than public shareholding, but it is more, so that hostile takeovers become difficult. If you look at SERA, if you look at CMSL chapter, you have minimum public shareholding of 25%. Okay, so the more promoter shareholding you have, the lesser is the chances of hostile takeover. Let's say I have raised enough money, I've come out with 2 3 public offers. Okay, I've come out with 2 3 public offers. Now there are enough shareholders in the company, and now I am worrying that my company can be acquired by any random person who has money, and he can acquire my company. So what do? I buy back the shares from the company and I'll increase the promoter shareholding, so that hostile takeover just becomes difficult. I'm not saying that the possibility of hostile takeover is ruled out. No, there is still a possibility that hostile takeovers can happen. Okay, these are some of the reasons why you will be going for a buyback. It is more of a strategic decision. It is more of a strategic decision of a company. It is of course shareholders will be happy, because let's say the market price is 1000 rupees per share. Shareholders, the exit route that probably they will be getting is more than 1000 rupees. Company has to get those shares from the shareholders, right? How will the company purchase? Company should give shareholders a better price than what is the market value of those shares. Market value might be 1000 rupees. Array, shareholders will go and sell it at 1000 rupees. No, why should I sell it back to the company? They will sell it only back to the company when the company is offering them a better price than than the market value of the shares. Let's say to 1200 rupees. So the premium of 200 rupees. So shareholders are automatically happy with buyback. Generally most of the shareholders are happy. Okay, and this is what is buyback, why do we need buyback. Okay, this is what is buyback, and this is why we go for a buyback. Now coming to your Companies Act. Okay, now there are 3 sections that deal with buyback of your securities: section 68, 69 and 70. Okay, what are the section? 68, 69 and 70. Easy to remember, 68 to 70, not that's not difficult. And rule 17 of share capital and debenture rules 2014. So you will be reading these sections with rule 17 of share capital and debenture rules 2014, and wherever the company is listed you have your buyback regulations. You of course need to comply with that, but we will now be focusing only on Companies Act. Clear? Now what are the sources of buyback? This is section 68 subsection 1. There are 3 sources of buyback: free reserves, securities premium account, and proceeds of a fresh issue of any shares. Okay, let's break it down one after another. Free reserves. See, what are your free reserves? Your free reserves are defined under section 2 clause 43. It is defined under section 2 clause 43. What are your free reserves? Free reserves are that money that the company has, which is available for declaring and paying the dividend. Okay, it is that part of your dividend. Sorry, it is that part of your profit. See, you can have multiple sources of profits from your operations, profits from sale of capital assets, or anything. Okay, you can have multiple sources of profit, but remember, you can only use certain category of profits for payment of dividend. That is your free reserves. Okay, free reserves is also defined under section 2 clause 43 of your Companies Act 2013. Look at your definition of free reserves. Free reserves are defined as the reserves available for dividend distribution as per the latest audited balance sheet of the company. Not to And what are the two things that will not be included in your profits? Unrealized gain, notional gains, revaluation of assets. All these are not included in your free reserves. If you think about it, I am telling that I have a piece of land of, let's say, 1 crore rupees. Tomorrow, tomorrow suddenly I'm telling that the value of that land has increased to 1.5 crores. What is the appreciation amount? The appreciation amount is 50 lakh rupees. How much is it? 50 lakh rupees. Now, did I receive 50 lakh in my bank balance? No. So, but is it a profit? Yes. In my books of accounts, it is a profit. But did I receive that money in my bank account? No. Now, can I use this 50 lakhs to pay dividend? Of course not. Okay, this will not be included in your free reserves. So, what is excluded? Basically, if I have to put it in the most simplest terms, any profit which does not bring in actual cash inflow is not included in your free reserves. Is this clear? Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, now second is your securities premium account. You would have studied about securities premium account in the earlier concepts. Okay, in share and share capital chapter. And also, guys, if at all you want any other videos or any particular topics that you want me to cover quickly, okay, let me know down in the comment section. I will be coming out with those videos as well. Okay, so let's continue. Proceeds from fresh issue of any shares or other specified securities. So now, if you think about it, to complete a buyback process, what is the most essential requirement? That I should have money. Let's say I am the company and I want to go for a buyback. What is the most essential prerequisite? That I should have money. One is your free reserves, another one is your securities premium account, and another way, see, point number 1 and 2 is the money that I already have. Third point is giving you an option to go and get some money. To go and get some money. 1 and 2 talks about that money which you already have. Point number 3 talks about that set of money which you're going and getting it. How are you getting this money? You are issuing another set of shares. You are issuing another set of shares, and once you issue shares, what do you get in return? You get in return money. Okay, you get in return money. This money, okay, this money can be used for buyback of the earlier issued shares or securities. Okay, I'm repeating it once again. What do you need? You need money. Point number 1 and 2 talks about the money that you already have. Point number 3 talks about the money that you need to get. And how will you get this? By issuing shares. Whenever I issue shares, you will give me back your money. Okay, this money, I will be using it to buy back the securities which I had issued earlier in the past. Okay, I hope sources of buyback is clear. Okay, now what are the three sources? Free reserve, security premium account, proceeds of issue from an earlier issue from an earlier issue. But there is one condition. It cannot be done from the proceeds of earlier issue of the same kind of shares or specified securities. What are they telling? It cannot be done from what? Let's say I am trying to buy back equity shares of my company. And let's say I have different classes of equity shares. I will call it Series A, Series B, Series C. Okay. Now I want to buy back my Series A equity shares. Okay. Now I cannot again issue Series A and buy back Series A. Probably I can issue Series B equity shares and buy back Series A. Probably I can issue Series C equity shares and buy back my Series A equity shares. This is possible, but I cannot again issue new set of Series A equity shares and buy back my earlier issued Series A equity shares. That is not allowed. You can issue shares or securities, and whatever money that you get, you can use it for buying back of those securities. Okay, this is your section 68 clause 1. Okay, now we have covered free reserves. Now what are the conditions that are needed for completion of buyback? Okay, first thing, articles of association should be authorizing. If articles of association are not authorizing for buyback, you should be altering your articles of association and buy back the shares of the company. Okay, then you have now two scenarios. One is when you require board resolution, and there is a situation when you will require special resolution in case of buyback. Okay, when is board resolution sufficient? When your buyback is 10% or less than 10% of your paid up capital and free reserves, then your board resolution is sufficient. But whenever your buyback is exceeding, that is, it is crossing 10%, that is 10.1%, 10.01%, 10.5%, 11%, whenever it exceeds 10%, you will need special resolution. You will need special resolution which needs to be passed at the general meeting. But under no circumstances in one financial year the buyback will exceed 25% of your paid up capital and free reserves of the company. It will not exceed 25% of your paid up capital plus free reserves of your company. That is the upper limit for every financial year. Okay, so it cannot exceed 25%. Up to 25% you can go for a buyback. Then quantum of buyback, the buyback limit in any financial year must be 25% or less. Okay, which we have already discussed. Now they have given limitations with respect to your debt to equity ratio. What do you mean by debt to equity ratio? You have your debt and you have your equity. I always tell this in my class. There are only two sources of your financing. That is, you issue shares of the company and you get money. That is one source of financing. And the second source is you take loan from a bank, financial institution, investors, or public. This is your debt. Okay. Now, always remember that higher the debt, higher the riskier is the company. Okay, you need to understand this. The more the debt, the more the risk. You need to understand this very well. Okay, so they are telling that you go for buyback, we have no issue. If it is within 10%, if it is 10% or less than 10%, board resolution is sufficient, you can happily do buyback. If it is 25% or less than 25% but more than 10%, then you will pass special resolution. Okay, fine, no issues. But then you should also meet with another condition, which is your debt to equity ratio. Your debt to equity ratio, the maximum debt to equity ratio that they are saying is 2:1. That is, if I have 200 rupees of equity, my debt cannot be more than 400 rupees. Okay. See, what did I tell? I have 200 rupees of equity. I have how much equity do I have? 200 rupees. And let's say I go to take 1000 rupees of debt. Now, isn't there a mismatch? My equity is here and my debt is here, right? Isn't there a mismatch? Now, this becomes more risky. Okay, if tomorrow the company is not able to repay its loan, it doesn't have anything with itself to repay back that money. Okay, the creditors need cushion. This provision under Companies Act has only one objective, that is for the protection of creditors, nothing else. Okay, for protection of creditors. What are they telling? And also to protect the equity shareholders, because the more the risky the company gets, the chances of it defaulting will also increase at the same time. Okay, so now what are they telling? Your debt to, in simple words, forget about all this, your debt to equity ratio should be 2:1 or less than 2:1. Okay, so it can be 1.5:1, it can be 2:1, it can be 1.3:1, but it cannot be more than 2 is to 1. It cannot be more than 2 is to 1. It has to be less than or equal to 2 is to 1. But central government understood that, see, all the companies are not the same, and I cannot treat all the companies to be the same. So for certain companies, I will be giving a higher debt to equity ratio of 6 is to 1. For certain class of companies, higher debt to equity ratio is permissible. Which kind of companies generally? These are your infrastructure companies, because they require higher amount of capital. Therefore, you will require a higher debt to equity ratio. And then next is only fully paid up shares. So what are they telling? Any shares that you want to buy back, those shares have to be fully paid up. If it is partly paid up, if let's say out of 120 shares are not fully paid up, you cannot buy back those. You can only buy back those shares or securities which are fully paid up. Then there's a cooling off period of minimum 1 year. Once you complete one buyback, if you want to go with another buyback, you have to make sure that the gap between the first buyback and the second buyback is 1 year. Then completion timeline. Within how many days should it be completed? One buyback should be completed within 1 year. Okay, so what is it now? There are two places now where you are seeing 1 year. Okay, 1 year, once you complete one buyback. So listen to me carefully. Once one buyback is completed, then you have 1 year cooling off period. Clear? Once buyback is completed, focus on the word completed. Once it is completed, then you can, once that 1 year period is completed, then you can go for another buyback. Okay, and one single buyback should be completed within how much time? 1 year. So you took 1 year to finish one buyback. Okay, and then another 1 year is your cooling off period for the next buyback. Okay, then coming to what are the different ways of buying back. One is proportionate offer to the existing shareholders or security holders. Let's say you are having 200 shares. I am coming with 1:2 buyback. That means I will buy back one equity share. Let's say I'm buying back equity shares. I'll buy back one equity share for every 2 equity shares that you hold. For example, you are holding 200 equity shares, and I will buy back 100 shares. This is on a proportionate basis. It can be 1:3, it can be 2:4, or anything. Okay, then purchase from the open market. What do you mean by open market? Open market is your stock exchanges. Okay, someone like you and me, how we sit in on the stock exchange and we are purchasing, someone else is also doing the same thing. He's buying back the shares from the open market. But as of now, with the recent CMSL regulations, the buyback regulations, the amendments that have been made, as of now, open market buyback is not possible. Okay, purchase of securities issued to employees under stock option scheme or sweat equity. These are the 3 ways you can complete your buyback. Then your extinguishment. The company must extinguish and physically destroy the securities bought back within 7 days of the buyback completion process. So what are they telling? I started my buyback. Okay, I completed my buyback. Once my buyback is completed, I have 7 days of time. Listen to me carefully. Once my buyback is completed, I have 7 days of time to destroy or extinguish the share certificates. Now the question comes, sir, why are we destroying the share certificates? The reason why we destroy the share certificates is buyback should always result in consequent reduction of share capital. What do they mean to say is, whenever I am buying back, the equity share capital, basically the share capital of the company should reduce. If at all I have bought back 10% of my equity shares that is out there, let's say my equity share capital was 1 lakh and I have bought back 10%. So my share capital should reduce from 1 lakh to 90,000. Okay. I hope this is clear. And within how many days should it be done? It should be done within 7 days from the date of extinguishment, within 7 days of completion of shares, completion of buyback process. Then prohibition to issue further shares. Now if you look at it, now till now we have majorly seen 4 timelines. 1 year cooling off period, maximum completion period of 1 year, then 7 days to extinguish your share certificates. Then fourth one is you should not issue the same kind of securities for the next 6 months. Basically, like today I have completed my buyback process of series A equity shares that I have. Now I have 6 months time period. How much time? 6 months. During this 6 months from the date of completion, I should not be going for any any sort of issuance of same kind of equity shares. Okay. Then period of offer for buyback. The buyback offer must remain open for at least how many days? At least 15 days and not more than 30 days from the date of dispatch of letter of offer. If all the shareholders agree, the offer can be closed earlier but not before 15 days. Okay, I hope till now it is clear. Now coming to your additional rules and regulations, whatever is there, you need to majorly remember 5 forms: SH8, SH9, SH10 and SH11 and MGT14. MGT14 will only come when you're passing special resolution, and that is constant. Whenever you're passing special resolution, you need to file MGT14 within how many days? Within 30 days of passing your resolution. Within 30 days of passing your resolution, you should file MGT14. Special resolution MGT14 within 30 days of passing special resolution. Letter of offer should be in which form? SH8. Then declaration of solvency in SH9 and your return of buyback in SH11. Okay, SH11 should be filed with ROC within how many days? Within 30 days of completing your buyback process, including the details of the shares bought and whatever the shares you have extinguished. Okay, then now a register has to be maintained. Who has to maintain? Company has to maintain. Who is maintaining? Company. What are they maintaining? Register. Which register? Register of buyback. In which form? SH10. Okay, 3 questions mainly you should be answering. Who should maintain a register? Company. What register should they maintain? Register of buyback. In which form should they maintain this register? SH10. Okay, the register must be kept where? It should be kept at the registered office of the company. Okay, then the company must dispatch the letter of offer to the shareholders or security holders within 21 days from filing it with the registrar of companies. Now I will be filing with the ROC, that I will be going for buyback, and I have 21 days of time to dispatch my letter of offer. Now what is this letter of offer? The same letter of offer. Now I am the one who is purchasing the equity shares of the company. Now I have to tell how many shares am I buying back, or how many securities am I buying back, and at what price. That is mainly included in your letter of offer. When should you send it? Within 21 days from the date of filing it with the ROC. Okay, let's go look at the forms again. We saw SH10 for the register, MGT14 for special resolution in case if it is exceeding 10%, but if it is less than or equal to 25%, and the letter of offer should be in SH8. Then you have to give declaration of solvency. See, remember, I always tell this in the class also, whether you are SEBI or Companies Act or majorly any corporate laws, the intention is always to protect your creditors, always to protect the banking system in our country. So now I have money to do buyback, but because I have done buyback, tomorrow I should not give this an excuse, sir, I had done buyback, so I will not be able to repay the loan that I had taken from you. That excuse can never be made. That is the reason I will be giving declaration of solvency in SH9 saying that, sir, even if I do buyback, I will not go insolvent. What do you mean by insolvent? Anyone who's not able to repay the loans. So basically I'm saying that, sir, even if I do buyback, I will not go insolvent. You don't have to worry. You will still be able to recover money from me, whichever I owe you the money. Basically, how much ever money that I had taken from you in form of loan, I will still be able to repay one even after completion of buyback. Tomorrow I will not be giving an excuse that sir, I did buyback, therefore I am not able to give you back your money. That excuse can never be made. And then return of buyback, SH11. Then completion of verification. The company must complete the verification of buyback offers within 15 days from the offer closure, and any communication of rejection must be made within 21 days of the offer closure. So what are they telling? Here the common timeline is your offer closure. Okay. Now I have to verify the buyback offers. I have given letter of offer. Now you guys have given me the offer that sir, I am willing to sell so many equity shares at so and so price. I have to verify this offer within how many days? Within 15 days. And I have to verify it within 15 days. And how much time do I have? I have another 6 days. Another 6 days from the end of 15 days. That is 21 days from the offer closure to communicate rejection. If at all I am rejecting your letter, if at all I am rejecting your offer, I have 21 days from the completion of from the closure of the offer. Remember, do not get confused. Buyback offer completion is different and offer closure is different. Okay. Buyback closure is when I am extinguishing my share certificates. All the process is over. I have bought back. That is completion of buyback. Okay. But now I am talking about offer closure. I have given you an offer. I would have kept it open for a certain amount of time. Now once the offer is closed, my buyback process is not yet completed. My offer process is completed. So how many days? 15 days from the date of offer closure. I have 15 days of time to verify the offers. Then I have 21 days from the date of offer closure to communicate any rejection of the offer. So what are the broad timelines? 1 year, the cooling off period between one buyback to another buyback. The buyback should be completed within 1 year from the passing of the board resolution or special resolution. Then you have 6 months. You cannot issue any further shares of the same category for the next 6 months. Then 7 days you should extinguish your share certificates within 7 days of the completion of your buyback process. Okay. Then you have MGT 14, SH11, SH8, SH9 and SH10. Then you have 15 days and 21 days. 15 days from the date of offer closure, that is I have to verify, and I have 21 days from the date of offer closure to communicate the rejection of any offer. Then I have to open a separate bank account. It's more or less like an escrow account. It is an escrow account. What is an escrow account? Where you open an account for a specific purpose. That is your escrow account within 7 days of the time specified for accepting the buyback. Okay. Now I have to deposit all this money in an escrow account. Basically, just to protect the shareholders that tomorrow they will give me an offer and I do not have money. That situation shouldn't come. That's the reason the law asks me to put all this money in a separate bank account. Okay. Generally, these kind of bank accounts are known as your escrow accounts. Okay. That's it. Then coming to, this is your section 68. Broadly, that is all that needs to be covered for section 68. Then section 69 says that whatever money that you are, now whatever is the amount that you will be using either from free reserves or securities account or securities premium account. See, you have three sources: free reserve, security premium account and proceeds of issue. Okay. Now, when you are buying back, and the sources of finance for this buyback is two, either free reserves or security premium account, then whatever is the face value that you are trying to buy back, that you have to transfer it to your capital redemption reserve account. All they are saying is, how much, let's say I am purchasing 100 shares. I am buying back 100 shares. The face value is 10 rupees per share. So how much is the total amount? 100 into 10, 1000 rupees. Okay. And this 1000 rupees is either coming from free reserves or securities premium account, then I have to transfer this face value. I am only talking that 10 rupees is the face value. I am not talking about the market value or the premium that I am paying. I am talking about the face value. That has to be transferred to your capital redemption reserve account. And if you studied share and share capital, or if you are about to study your share and share capital, you would have studied that you will use your capital redemption reserve account capital to issue bonus shares. Okay, let's read it. When company buys back its shares using free reserves or security premium account, an amount equal to the nominal value is nothing but the face value of the purchased shares. How many shares have I purchased? 100 shares. How much is the face value of each share? 10 rupees. So 100 into 1000, 100 into 10 is 1000 rupees, and it must be transferred to your CRR account. This account is recorded in the balance sheet and may be applied for issuing fully paid up. Now this CRR account can be used for issuing fully paid up bonus shares. I am issuing bonus shares. You will study, if you want, I will be coming out with another video for bonus shares. I think that would be better. Okay. Then circumstances where you cannot go for buyback. Okay, you cannot, no buyback can be done through a subsidiary company. Okay, through a subsidiary company, including company's own subsidiaries. Basically, you cannot complete your buyback through a subsidiary company. If you want to do a buyback, you do it by yourself. Do not use subsidiary companies to complete your buyback. Okay, then it cannot be done through an investment company. If you want to do it, you do it. Do not ask your investment company. Investment company's business is to buy and sell securities. So you cannot involve them in this business. If you want to do it, you do it. Do not ask your subsidiary companies or investment companies to complete your buyback process. Then default on repayment. If the company has defaulted in repaying the deposits accepted before or after the commencement of this act, interest payments or redemption, then you cannot go for buyback. Okay, and if you have defaulted with respect to dividends, now look at this, either deposits, dividends. If you have defaulted with respect to these two things, you cannot go for buyback. But if at all you have committed a default and a period of 3 years has been completed, then you can go for buyback. See, there is a cooling off period for this default. Okay, they are saying that if at all this default is existing, you cannot go for buyback. Fine, you have rectified this default. Then you have 3 years of time, and during these 3 years of time, you cannot do buyback. Today I had committed a default, I rectified this default, now I have 3 years during which I should not go for buyback, and after 3 years I can go for buyback. Okay, and if at all there is non-compliance with 92, section 92 is your annual return, your dividends, then financial statements with respect to these 4 things, then you cannot go for buyback. Okay, so, and why company chooses to go for buyback, we have already discussed this in the beginning of the video. And do not worry, you will have access to this notes in the description down below. Okay, so that it helps you to study better. Okay, and please let me know if at all you want any other topics that you would want me to cover. I would be happy to cover it. I know it's your exam time, so any quick revisions that you want for any particular topic, you can let me know down in the comment section. I'll be happy to make the videos for it so that it helps for your exam preparation. So until next time, bye guys. All the best for your exams, and please study well.